Do you know what? One of the saddest, and I have to say depressing things I ever hear comes generally from blokes. If you ask them what sport they do or what sport they did, it's always something like, oh yeah, I used to be really good at football. I used to be really great at rugby, or I used to run the 200 metres in this time, that time. But then age got in my way and my knees started to hurt. I injured myself and I put on too much weight. I find that really depressing. And there's this sort of acceptance of a quick degradation in our ability through our life, which in my opinion comes way too early. I think a lot of us, when we think about our life, we think that we drive towards a physical peak, which is often in our 20s and 30s. I'd call that kind of the Olympic age. You know, we rise to a point where we're at our max, and actually it does coincide with, you know, elite performance. But I think also we've got this really unhealthy view that from this point onwards, there's this slow, depressing slope towards our death, which really isn't what the body is meant to do. I absolutely promise you, it is not meant to do this. Now, I understand from recent history and our recent and medium-term forebears that we've got this understanding that we died very young. And it is true, up until about the turn of the 19th, 20th century, we had an average mortality of about 42. We've doubled it plus to about 86 now. But nearly all of these deaths in the last 1, 2, 3,000 years have been through kinetic means. So this is sort of death, anything to do with impact, you know, kinetic, bang, warfare, crashes, injuries, impact. And the other means has been via contagion and disease. So that took an awful lot of deaths. But sadly, what's happened in the 20th and 21st century is a vast majority of us are now taken by what we call metabolic illnesses. So this is anything to do with cardiovascular, you know, heart disease, diabetes, weight-related illnesses, inflammatory illnesses like arthritis, and even things like, you know, dementia, which people now call diabetes type 3. So, you know, it really isn't the case. And you should, in my view, see your life as something that is an ever-increasing incline in health and vitality. Now, I know you're not going to be able to run the 100, 200 meters in the same time as you did when you're 20, but I absolutely promise you, if you respect your body, it will return to you a very, very good life. How do I know that, and how do I feel so positive about it? Because evolutionary biologists are now turning up ample evidence to show that in our physical heyday, which is between about 3,000 and 200,000 years ago, so before agriculture came along and brought us lots of lovely diseases and stuff, we actually led a very good life. And dental records, all that stuff is showing life led into the 60s, 70s and 80s. And really, I'm not suggesting here that you start to live a life of penury and the sort of life our ancestors led. I am encouraging you to still enjoy wine, beer and chocolate. But the really big stuff, if you get it right, your body will carry on serving you right the way through your life. And really towards the end, you'll see obviously a degradation. You've got to disappear at some time, but it really should be much later in life. And there's absolutely no reason the 60 or 70-year-old you should not be able to do 90+% of what the 20-year-old you did. Now, I know it's not always easy. There are 2 or 3 big things that you need to keep your eye on. If you listen to me, you'll know what those are. But with wearable tech and health assessments now, if you just keep an eye on the real basics like resting heart rate, what else can we think of? Cholesterol, your body fat, that sort of stuff, you will, I absolutely promise you, live a long, healthy and pain-free life. And I really, really don't want people to see their life like this. It's not necessary. It really should be a sharp, nice, sorry, not a sharp, a nice incline and then a quick dip at the end. Think more Duke of Edinburgh. You know, He was there driving his Range Rover till almost the very end, and then just said a lovely goodbye. So just remember, death isn't a disease, it is an event. That's all for today. Take care.